bolster its presence between Iraq and Syria as a means of containing Iran? Do you think that that will be an effective strategy?
I don't think so. To be honest with you, I think there's some delicate politics involved with our presence in Iraq, and we don't have the ability to simply unilaterally increase the number of troops. The Iraqi government has a say. We have some agreements with them, and all the troops we have, both in Iraq and Syria, are there both in terms of in Baghdad's view, just to help with the fight against Islamic State, but more importantly, in the eyes of the United States Congress. So any new deployment into either one of those countries that was not explicitly about Islamic State would require sort of a major political process. So I don't think the ground troops in those places is warranted, but I think there are bases in Greece, in southern NATO countries, probably not in Turkey at this point, given where Turkey's come down in the current conflict, but also in some Gulf countries. I think with the idea that we are incurring further Iranian escalation rather than assisting efforts ongoing in Gaza. Now, Gaza's interesting. There's American hostages being held in Gaza. So while the U.S. is trying to keep from seeing a massive escalation there, we absolutely are interested in Israel both defending itself, but also helping to release Israeli hostages and American hostages being held in Gaza. So we're sort of party to that conflict as well.
And just a word on Turkey, if you would. What did you make of President Erdogan's comments yesterday at a NATO level? And do you think that the sale of F-16s might be off the table now?
Well, as you probably know, I think about alliance management as a core strategic task for the United States, and I've long felt that Israeli-Turkish rapprochement was in the U.S. interest and something that we should press for. And frankly, the comments this week make that a very difficult position to defend at the moment. So I think it's highly likely that the F-16 sale that was already slowed by many different considerations is off the table for now. Maybe not forever, but I don't see any progress on that while the current rhetoric is sustained. And frankly, I'm also concerned about the longer-term convergence on regional political and economic matters that the two presidents and Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Erdogan have been very close to fulfilling. So for those of us who want that relationship to work, this has been a very hard week.
And just a word, if you would, given your military expertise, about your thoughts on the progress of Israel's goal to destroy Hamas so far, 23 days in, and what are the biggest challenges facing Israel?
Right, it's a massively complex thing. I think there's no intention that I've seen from Israel to reoccupy the Gaza Strip. So what you're talking about is an operation mostly from the air, but with a ground component to isolate Hamas leadership in Gaza City and to destroy as much as possible of the military infrastructure, the rocket locations, the warehouses, and of course the tunnel network. To do that without killing a massive number of civilians, and I mean, to be fair, I am concerned about civilian casualties among the Palestinians. You hear many people in the West say it doesn't matter, Hamas brought this upon them. Look at the Tohan Neshik is really saying that the purity of arms means that you still have to pay attention even when the other side has done outrageous things. So I think the biggest challenges now are doing this quickly before world opinion becomes further inflamed, doing it effectively, which is to say most of the tunnel network and the leadership has to be removed, coming up with some sort of political position on what follows, and doing that in a way that doesn't get our hostages and ours executed among. It's complex, and I know that the Israeli planners and the top-tier military forces are among the best in the world. I wish them luck in solving this riddle within a riddle, really.
Thank you. We appreciate it, Colonel Richardson. Thank you. With my son still witness groups, the United States has proven itself to be a reliable ally in times of need for Israel.
I think that very much we need to understand two things. One, that the United States has been unbelievable in its support and its value-oriented closeness to Israel in a time of need. And this is something that the Israeli leadership and the people will never forget. But over and above that, the value the similarity in values and the tremendous and very warm friendship. There is an issue of also proving to the world that the United States is not receding or going back in terms of its strength, in terms of its power in the region, in terms of its assets and
Sis.
I would say its presence in the Middle East and the Gulf region. And this is something that has been a little bit of question in the past several years, particularly after leaving Syria, leaving Afghanistan, and there has been a kind of feeling amidst role players in the region that perhaps the United States
Sige, anong sabi?
is becoming more insulated and leaving its impact in the region to other players. And this is something that the United States very recently did not like to be the message, not to leave the ground to other players such as China, Russia, and so on. And at this moment, it is reinstating fully its position, its power, and its status as the leader of the world order, which has been challenged very profoundly by Iran, Turkey, Russia, China.
If the US leaves the region, they're waiting in the West to move in. Britain.
I think this is obviously got Iran's hand behind it. There's no question about that in every respect. And equally, if Hezbollah decides to launch an assault from the north is more intensive than it has done so far, then that also has got Iran's hand behind it. In some ways, this has backfired on Iran, I think, because Iran was encouraged in its plan by America's distancing itself from the region.
And it's brought them straight back.
Right, and distancing itself from the current Israeli government. And now we've got two carrier strike groups, and goodness knows what else in the region.
Absolutely.
The opposite of what we want.
I think that's the message that Richard, thank you for now. We're going to take a short break. Stay with us. on Tel Aviv on this day 23 of Israel's war with Hamas, and there's been a direct hit on a residential home in the northern town of Kiryat Shmona tonight. A barrage of rockets fired from southern Lebanon by Palestinian groups operating in southern Lebanon. One of the homes was hit. No reports, thankfully, of any casualties. But a direct hit there causing a fire. Firefighters and emergency services very quickly at the scene. That town has been evacuated, as have many other communities in the north of Israel. So sirens blaring across the north tonight, as they were earlier in the day in central and southern Israel, when rockets were fired from Gaza, and there have been a series of overnight raids by the IDF into Gaza. The IDF now controls small parts of northern Gaza, and we've seen clashes between IDF troops and Palestinian terrorists who burst out of a tunnel close to the Erez crossing. Well, the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, has apologised after he was roundly criticised for laying the blame on his own defence and intelligence chiefs for the October 7 attack. US President Joe Biden is expected to speak with Benjamin Netanyahu by phone later tonight. Let me just remind you who we have with us this hour. Colonel Richard Kent is a former commander in the British Army, served in Afghanistan, and with me in the studio, our senior correspondent Ali Altman is back from that gathering with the families of the hostages in Tel Aviv. And we're joined as well now by Dr. Shannon Moore. He's the Director of Research at United Nations Watch. Welcome to you as well. Shannon, I'll start with you if I can. I mean, at this very critical time, you know, the Prime Minister, he put out a tweet last night. He blamed his security and defence teams. He then deleted the tweet and he apologised for making that statement at this, you know, very critical time. Are Israelis getting the reassurance they need from their leader?
No, absolutely. I think just having to ask the question already answers it. But the Prime Minister's awake at 1 in the morning, essentially drunk dialing his own public with all sorts of attempts to blame other people for his own problems isn't very reassuring. It's not to say, by the way, that there isn't a lot of responsibility and blame that falls on the heads of the various security agencies. Obviously there is, and that's something that's going to be dealt with. Many of them have already made statements explicitly taking responsibility and implicitly informing about future reservations when this is up. There's something very, very dispiriting about the way this Prime Minister and this whole government have handled this from the beginning. It's one thing to be in a state of shock in the first hours or day or two after such a horrible event. It's been 3 weeks, and it seems that he and the ministers around him still haven't recovered from their initial shock, still don't understand what hit them, still don't understand the mistakes they made that led up to this, still don't understand what the situation demands of them, and are focused at the most crucial hours in trying to improve their own images and prepare a case for a future commission of inquiry.
Should he apologise? Should he resign?
Apologize already has. If we're up to me, this entire government would resign. I don't think it's capable of handling the task at hand. We are in no situation right now to dissolve the Knesset and hold motions that obviously is something that. But in this Knesset, there can surely be found 61 members to vote for a constructive no confidence and to establish an emergency government. And there are enough people in the Knesset, in many of the parties, to staff the main ministries and positions necessary for doing this. The people we have now, people whose entire political career is a series of media spectacles and games on social media, who've never done anything, accomplished anything, including people, by the way, making big pronouncements on national security who never served a day in their life, often because of their own criminal records. And our faith is in their hands right now. disappeared entirely. I don't recall, by the way, seeing Edith Seaman at all in the last 2 weeks. Maybe she's out protecting our hospitals from the scourge of chametz, of leavened bread. I don't know. She's gone. I don't recall seeing speech to cause on a minister.
Well, there is a Tony, there is a unity government in place now, isn't there, which includes Benny Gantz, former opposition leader, and we've also got Yoav Gallant, who is Stephen.
It's not a unity government at all. It's the same. It's not a unity government at all. It's the same coalition of 64 with the declaration of Benny Gantz and Eisenkot. We're very important people. We're probably among the only adults in the room right now. It's a shame that they didn't make more serious demands before joining the government. But I'll just give you an example of what we still have, because it's important to pay attention. Obviously, you have some very special people like the ones you named, like Gallant, like Eisenkot, like Benny Gantz. The minister who is still in charge of the police, among other security forces, the self-styled Minister of National Security, is investing all of his energy in the last week, and especially in the last 48 hours, in trying to foment violence between Jews and Arabs inside Israel. Not because it's good for the war effort, but because it's important for him. And he's going out of his way, tweeting all sorts of scurrilous things, engaging in all of his typical humiliation, domination. This guy arrested for making noise with a motorcycle, that one for posting something on Facebook with rumors from his people associated with him about what's going on at the college in Netanya. So far, by the way, it needs to be said, neither the Jews nor the Arabs in Israel have heeded his call. And there hasn't been any violence, but not for lack of effort on his part. And if and when he succeeds in doing that, we're not just talking about some random politician, we're talking about the person who has the police force at his disposal. If and when he succeeds in doing that, our war effort...
Hindi ako nagbayad ako ng I-1 42,000.
And so the fact that...
Nung dumating, kaya alam mo ang tagal kong pinag-ipunan yung NBC ko kasi February dumating yung I-140 ko. Nakabayad ako ng March. After 1 week, dumating agad ang NBC ko. Kababayad ko pa lang ng 2,000, dumating agad. Ang binayaran ko sa NBC ko is 3,335.
That's what the Israeli calls for. It requires 61 members of Knesset to not only express no confidence in the government, so that it should be very easy to do because this government has failed in a way no previous government in Israel's history ever has.
Ay, oo, ba't hindi ka pa nagbabayad? Kailangan bayaran mo na.
It obtains the confidence of at least 61 members of the House. That is absolutely impossible. It requires 5 righteous men in Sodom. That's it. It requires 5 people to say enough. Not, by the way, to
Tanong mo kay Bilma pa o Oo, kailangan magbayad ka na.
They are not currently able to function and lead this war effort that is so crucial. And if anybody doubts about that, open Twitter at 1 in the morning last night should have dissolved of any of these doubts.
All right, thank you.
This is not fit for purpose.
Stay with me, Tony. Okay. A very strong criticism, so it is of this government from Shani Moore. But do you think that it's possible? Do you think there could be a vote of no confidence in this government at this time when we're in the middle of the war?
No, it obviously doesn't look realistic. I mean, let's go back to the tweet that set this all off. Look, Benjamin Netanyahu has apologized. That is not a sentence that I think any of us imagined we would ever say. This is not someone who is known for
Oo,
apologizing.
kailangan din na magbayad. Kaya baka wala ka pang NBC.
No, of course, you're right. He apologized for the tweet and fulsomely apologized and personally apologized on Twitter, the same medium he used to deliver it. So,
Kaya ang tagal-tagal.
And in this narrow sense, I want to emphasize this narrow sense, Benjamin Netanyahu is similar to Trump in the sense that they just don't apologize. And seeing this happen was really extraordinary on the part of Benjamin Netanyahu. But of course, the apology doesn't erase the episode, which is why we're still talking about it. And the episode still resonates in the public mind. What I think is going on strategically, whether
Kasi
consciously
kami,
or
di ba, ang
unconsciously,
unang payment application, 3,000 sa akin. 3,000. Nung nagkaroon ako ng LC, nagbayad ako ng 445 $4,445. Oo, kasama na lahat, pati asawa ko, binayaran ko sila. Nung nagkaroon na ako ng LC, after LC, I-140, nagbayad ako ng 2,000 ng pagka ng I-140. Nung
paradigm over the course of his career.
Oo, kaya
Through that clash, he's built his coalition, his political identity, and by taking
kaya
aim
nga
at
ngayon may
the
I-140 ka na,
of
magbayad
course,
ka
it's
na.
code for Israel, we shall not, the first Israel, the establishment, the elite. I think he's in a sense trying to move the political agenda back to there. So it's a peak in his wider political strategy. And there's a question of how his base will respond. Now, some voters will respond, we don't know because he
Do
apologized.
you think he is still making calculations based on his own political fortunes then? Do you think, because there is a school of thought that he will stay because it's his responsibility to oversee the response to the worst terrorist
Pero itanong mo pa rin kung
but do you
pwedeng
think he's
pagsabayin mo. Tanong mo pa rin sa
he
kanila.
can maintain his own political fortunes?
At least thinking about
Ganito
it.
rin sa
Clearly,
akin.
his tweet went out. It went out with his name. So, of course, he's thinking about it. What the balance is between that and considerations of the war, I don't know. But one very, very important thing for all of us to understand, Netanyahu's interests and the public interest are largely aligned here, right? What is good for Netanyahu is a good result in the war. A result in the war that the public will be satisfied with. That helps him. And in that large sense, the interests are aligned. There may be a point in time, once the victory, let's say, is 90% complete, when we might start to see some divergence, but we're far from that. But very, very quickly, Laura, I don't have the time to get into it. Two other areas Netanyahu has to worry about. Number one, the response of Itamar Ben-Gvir to this, where
Hindi, parang ano tong third payment mo is ito yung I-140. Third payment due after immigrant visa petition approval. Yan yung I-140. Ito naman, itong 3,000, yan yung second payment. Yan na yung mag-ano ka ng after LC ito, diba? Nung nakareceive ka ng LC. Ayan no, after labor certificate approval, process for applicants. O, yan yung parang process ng
Maybe that's the case. In the wider sense, there are these two other areas, huge areas about his performance and his policy, where he
Ganito rin
doesn't
sa
have a
akin.
response.
Dr. Shenimore, come back in if you would, if you'd like to respond to that.
Sure, I absolutely agree that it was a fulsome apology. I don't think the word fulsome means what your correspondent thinks it does, and it's worth double checking that. It's not the first time he's apologized for such a slip of the tongue. He apologized also after the 2015 election for saying that the Arabs were coming
Ito
out
na
of
yung
the
pang ano
roads,
itong
but also
pang
that was after the fact.
NBC.
And it didn't change much. It didn't erase the state of what happened. In this case, I don't think that there's an alignment between the interests of the Prime Minister and the interests of the public at all. We can see that it's in his behavior in the last 3 weeks.
Nakabayad ka na ng pangalawa?
His job and preserving his immunity from
He wants to win the war. He wants to win the war.
once he down.
I mean, once he needs politically,
He wants to win.
he needs to win the war.
He's dealing with it. He's dealing with the minister and government.
Oh, yan yung ano eh, yung
While
una.
the war is going on, he's trying to
Ganito rin yung ano namin, kaso nga lang, nung sa I-140 ko, nagbayad ako ng 2,000 na, saglit lang yung saan na yun. Papakita ko rin sa
create all
YouTube.
sorts of provocations in the West Bank, something which will only A, inflame the situation, give us another front to fight on, and B, eliminate the international support that we have right now. He's not in control of the situation. The amount of time that he's
Oo,
spending
kailangan magbayad ka na, baka hindi lang ano yung visa yun.
security chiefs shows that this is a man and a government who are not equal to the task. By the way, a no confidence vote in Parliament is not unrealistic at all. There we are, only a few votes short, and I promise you that even within the coalition of 64,
Nasaan ba yung kaibigan mo? Bakit hindi ka niya ina-instruct ng ano, ng tama?
This government and this prime minister are for the very, very grave challenge that we face.
Kaya,
Well, I just want to bring in on the point you said about inflaming tensions in the West Bank. France, in the last 15 minutes, has condemned Israeli West Bank settler attacks on Palestinians, so that is something that clearly our allies are concerned about.
pero nakuha niya na yung ano, yung passport, yung ano niya sa embassy.
Polls, I think we saw a poll a week ago, 75%. I think Israelis.
Hindi ka man lang sinabihan na ano, kasi sabihin mo, kukunin mo sa Philippine Embassy, hindi ka sinabihan na gano'n.
Until the election day, I don't think it's very. I don't think that we're going to be able to see the fundamental dynamic change. But again, we can't realistically hold an election in this condition of war. I want to add one other thing, by the way, to what was said earlier about the conceptia and everything. There's a lot of people who are getting a lot of mileage out of criticizing the concept that was governing our security and the whole misbegotten idea of maintaining Hamas rule in Gaza and all that, and tying it to the Prime Minister and his own calculations. And all that's true, by the way. I mean, the criticism is right, and the Prime Minister bears a lot of responsibility. But there's something also that's a bit dishonest when we're not saying why that was there. It's not there because the Prime Minister was stupid. It's not there because the Prime Minister was venal. It's not there because of one man's mistakes. The conceptia that we had when we had to maintain Hamas rule separately in Gaza existed not for any Israeli strategic interest. It existed in order to maintain the settlement enterprise in the West Bank. We had no need of the
Request you,
separation
tapos
of Gaza and the West
i-forward
Bank.
nila
No
sa
need to maintain
sa
Hamas power in Gaza. No need to get into all these ceasefires. No need to bring in Qatari money, except because that is the right-wing coalition that's been in power for most of the last 15 years, wanted to be able to maintain the status quo in the West.
Well, the other side to that is that the Palestinians elected Hamas themselves in 2006, and also there has been firm no's from all offers of peace, including, of course, LEBANON's generous offer in 2008.
Iba-iba naman ang ano niya. Oo.
But the Palestinians didn't elect the situation.
Eto, tingnan mo yung sinend ko sa'yo. Mas maliwanag yung
What
sa
happened
akin.
since 2007?
Ayan, initial fee, 3,000. Yung application form mo yan. Tapos yung second fee, nung may ano na, may LC na ako. Tapos, after LC, may ano na yung I-1 for 2,000. 2017 acquisition.
But as you said, even Abu Mazen, the supposed moderator, was never going to negotiate a serious peace agreement with Israel. That wasn't the issue.
Kaya
But that
ako,
was the
bakit
reason why
ikaw
in
yung
2009 Israel
kaya baka
signed
mahanap ko
that
sa'yo yung
policy
sinasabi
and
ko
Israel
na
was reasons
25.
for going on with what the international
Kasi ako, ayan o, NBC ko
But
is
from the opposite side,
3,500.
in order to maintain the status quo in the West Bank.
3,400.
What terrified the right-wing coalition in power
Ate,
since
bayaran ko na ba
2009
yung
was
I-1
not
for kasi
the
meron
prospect of a
ako.
final status agreement. That obviously was very difficult to do, not going to happen. What terrified them was having to make even the initial steps in the roadmap. What terrified them was having to even, for example, deal with the illegal outposts that Israel committed to in the roadmap, taking down. What terrified them was that they would be in a situation where they might have to carry out another disengagement.
And again, I mean, one second, I would also point out that it was Mahmoud Abbas in 2014 who refused to engage with Israel at all when Israel offered to resume negotiations under President Obama. Owen.
Nakatatlong beses ka lang ng bayad ba? Ayun, pang LC siguro yun, after LC yun.
Something to the point that there were people who wanted to distinguish between Hamas and the Palestinian Authority.
Tama, kasi ako, pwede kasi may asawa ka na.
This conception about how to face Hamas, it was occupying a much larger part of the Israeli political spectrum, including many professionals who were not in it for the settlement movement. It was there because people wanted to postpone the day of reckoning, because people understood what it would mean to go on to a full-scale war. If Hamas was sitting down in front of our very eyes, and people believed that by postponing it and by managing the conflict to transfer that phrase into the Gaza arena, that it could be postponed and in a sense dissipated over time through some other scenario intervening. That was the reigning assumption. It proved to, of course, be a complete failure. Was it also false? Was it also a bad decision in retrospect? It may be a more complicated question. What I'm saying is that Netanyahu, I think, may be more vulnerable on this question than he is on the question of what exactly the security chiefs did or didn't tell him and what he did or didn't know. Because at that level, Netanyahu may be right in a narrow sense that that's the responsibility of defense chiefs. But in terms of saying overall public policy toward Hamas, that's the role of the prime minister for the vast majority of this period. That prime minister was Benjamin Netanyahu.
Terrorist attack in Israel's history happened on his watch. There is no escaping.
Not only his watch, but it happened in his watch after Laura became prime minister for the vast majority of
Yes,
years.
all right, okay. So, very briefly, you want to respond?
There were, besides the political failures that we touched on, but not enough, there are some enormous tactical intelligence failures here. There's absolutely no way of denying that. And there is no way that either Sahel or the Shabak or anyone else takes responsibility for these failures. But the policy failure that was here, we have to be honest about what it was. The policy failure ended in the desire to maintain the status quo in the West Bank, full saw, I can say this as somebody who was there. And not only did the policy failure regarding Hamas and the Qatari money for that, but also the 9 months that we have wasted on an extremely divisive and totally counterproductive judicial reform. All of the hatred that's brought out in the Israeli public was also, by and large, the reform in quotes, of course, a constitutional initiative whose main purpose was to preserve the legal framework that allows for the settlement of Palestine. We have been hostage of this political camp representing within maybe 4 or 5% for at least 15 years now, and they've all disappeared. Find New York City where it seems to be supposed or it seems or anybody having anything interested to say. You know, find these investigate all the stories among all these heroes who were rescuing people and fighting the Hamas and about children. I've seen the Muslims, I've seen all the soldiers that they've been insulting for the last year.
nasa Pinas, ay nasa Amerika yung
I would say
kapatid.
that Israelis, I would say that Israelis across the political divide have been affected by these terrible attacks. I would say that the country is mobilized and more united than ever before in its bid to defeat Hamas. Dr.
We have an army that has been providing escort services for a bunch of idolaters to go to a sheikh
Mas madami tayo
who can
kaya.
get David Hebrew rather than protecting our border for thousands of families who were left alone to be massacred. Thousands of families.
Look, as I said before, the concept about Hamas will occupy a much larger part of the political spectrum, including professionals, and it was about postponing the day of reckoning, and we see the reason why the day of reckoning had been wanted to be postponed. The question is, was it also wrong prospectively? Of course it's wrong given what we know now. Was it also wrong prospectively? And just for the record, there were people within the Israeli right, and others who Yuval Steinitz and others who long ago talked about the idea of Israel needing to reoccupy Gaza for exactly the reason.
yesterday, but he also tried to tell me. So we're going to have to leave it there, so we appreciate it. Thank you very much for joining us to show more. Thank you. Alright, okay, well, it's almost,
Tama yung 550, 500 off for 700 tapos.
but these are big questions that are going to have to be addressed.
You know, we're tackling the tonight, Laura.
Sandali may
For the
tatanong.
chance of the missing family, do you believe that Kaplan Street would be used for something very, very different up until now?
Yeah, okay. And of course, the whole country is very much united in its bid to defeat Hamas and get the 230 hostages back home. Kind of again, let's move on from the politics. Let's talk about the military progress. Here we are, 23 days in. Given your military expertise and your background, how would you say the campaign is going so far?
Well, I'm very happy to say that I don't know too much about it because the idea of obviously maintaining something like blackout is quite rightly because
Sis, maligo mo muna ako, nainitan
people
na.
are fun to know or need to know is what's going on.
Alakin mo lang yung ano mo at napapayat na na baka yan na naman ang inaantay niya.
Very, very effective against Hamas. The ground operation that we're talking about now, I think very concerned for what we do know are destroying a lot of Hamas targets on the ground as well. But I think it's going to be quite a lengthy battle. And the thing we sort of touched on earlier on about what happens afterwards, and I think neither of us said the idea of they're not going to stay in Gaza. I think that's not the case. I think the hierarchy that once they hopefully will defeat Hamas, and once they've done that, I think they're going to be stuck inside Gaza, securing Gaza for a very long period of time. How long that is, I don't know, but I think the idea will be back in Gaza.
Well, that was one of the criticisms of the international coalition going into Iraq and Afghanistan, that there was no plan for the day after. Israel perhaps taking lessons from that.
Yeah, well, I think I don't know how much of a plan there is. I'm sure that plan's been put together as the all goes forward. It's very hard to do anything concrete at this stage, but to me it's very difficult to see if you eliminate the whole of the terrorist organisation inside Gaza now. That doesn't mean it's not going to come back in some way or form, and therefore you've got to have security present, and no one except for the IDF is going to provide that security presence inside Gaza to protect Israel for a peace that we saw 3 weeks ago, or indeed the 5 offers. So I think, at least in the medium term, we're going
humanitarian aid. And that's been the American message going back weeks, right, Laura? Again, we now have more water going into Gaza. We can easily guess why that's happening. It's coming obviously, we would imagine, from Washington. And the idea of more trucks being able to cross the border, those reports over the course of the last day. Loyal viewers know my position on this. It was never realistic for Israel to have a policy denying food, water, and medicines, and in the narrow sense of fuel for hospitals into the Gaza Strip was never realistic, even putting aside ethical and legal debates and questions. We're seeing it before our very eyes. Israel's needing to do it. I think to Israel's detriment having its feet dragged in the process.
Yeah, and of course, Egypt, which controls the Rafah crossing, has made it clear it will not accept any Gaza refugees. So
That's on the
yeah, very much on Israel then to work with the international process to allow aid in. There is mounting international pressure on Israel, of course, to agree to a ceasefire, and of course facing a tough military objective as well in defeat Hamas. Colonel Richard Kennedy, thank you very much to you. Thanks to you as well. We'll be taking a short break, but when we come back, we'll keep you updated with the latest, including, of course, the latest from the north, where Baron
Hello sa ating dalawang viewers dyan, guys.
no casualties reported as yet. We'll keep you updated with what's going on in the north, in the south, and across the country as well. We'll stay with us to recognize it.
Israel is officially in a state of war. This is a very active scene, and we see in the car as we're talking.
Hundreds of soldiers and civilians have been killed.
Just don't know anything.
Our families, including babies and children and elderly, were pictured in their beds, awaiting for the giant. And we are ready and we are strong.
Everyone is showing up. This is the unity.
tonight, 24 News. I'm Caregiver. It is day 23 of Israel's war against Hamas. The IDF is expanding its ground operations in the north of Gaza as the conflict enters what Israeli security officials call a second stage of the battle. Israeli soldiers are engaging in gun battles with Hamas terrorists there as rockets continue to be fired into the south and center of the country. In the north, missile launches being fired at an increased pace from across the Lebanon border as the IDF strikes a terrorist cell there preparing to fire an anti-tank missile. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu under political fire as he takes down and apologizes for a tweet blaming security chiefs for failing to anticipate the October 7th attack. Pressure on Netanyahu also coming from the families of the 230 confirmed hostages being held by Hamas, demanding action for their release. Pressure from the White House as well, calling for more humanitarian aid to Gaza's civilians as Israel increases the water supply going into the Strip. President Biden speaking with Netanyahu this evening, reportedly extending U.S. support for Israel's ground operations, but urging it to take greater care between civilians and terrorists. Well, last night, Prime Minister Netanyahu said that eliminating Hamas from the face of the earth while freeing 230 hostages being held in Gaza are compatible, even complementary goals. But increasingly, voices in the public are questioning if they can both be done at the same time, or asking if maybe one objective should come before the other. Senior defense correspondent Jonathan Reagan breaks down a huge dilemma for the Israeli leadership.
Two different objectives, perhaps contradicting each other, but both absolutely crucial for Israeli success in this war.
Our forces are currently operating underground in the Gaza Strip. The objectives of the war require a ground operation. As we know, no victory can come without a price.
There's no doubt that a ground operation is needed, but the price this time can be very high, maybe too high. At least 230 hostages are held in Gaza. Their families are going through a living hell and are extremely concerned that the ground maneuver, which began on a small scale Friday night, may lead to an even more dangerous situation.
We are very worried about our dearest that they are there, and we don't know that if the military operation take all these hostages under consideration.
Along with the ground operation, the first signal for Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar came every weekend. Sinwar, a former prisoner himself who was released in an exchange, is well aware of the sensitive sentiment in Israeli society regarding hostages. He now sets the tone, all for all Israeli hostages for all Palestinian prisoners, his message already echoing in Israel.
From the point of view of the families, a deal for the immediate release of family members within the framework of all for all is a consideration and will have broad national support.
The man who has to decide about that is Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the one who set the precedent of more than 1,000 Palestinian prisoners in exchange for one Israeli soldier in the 2011 deal freeing Gilad Shalit. In a meeting with hostages' families on Saturday night, he promised to do everything to release them.
We will do everything possible to bring them home. It was true before and after any ground invasion. It's an integral part of our operation.
Israel's ground forces raising the Israeli flags deep inside the Gaza Strip and promising to defeat Hamas on one hand, 230 hostages lying deep in the Gaza underground tunnels waiting to be released on the other. Will Israel succeed on both missions? Clearly, a very tough question.
Let's jump down to still on the Gaza border. Our correspondent Mary Nicole up in there. We understand there are sirens going off in that area.
That's right, so just moments ago, sirens ringing out here. We're sitting very near the Israel-Gaza border, and we saw a number of rockets that were fired from parts of the northern Gaza Strip, or at least crossing over the northern Gaza Strip. At the same time, mortar shells also being fired by the Israeli military into parts of the northern Gaza Strip. It's been a very heavy evening here inside Gaza. There's been a number of different clashes we've been following in the time that we've been here. The Israeli military says that it's been striking a number of different targets. We have a number of reports of airstrikes happening inside the Gaza Strip, most concentrated in that northern part of the strip, which Israel has, of course, been asking civilians to evacuate as urgently as possible, and also parts of the central Gaza Strip. We have reports just minutes ago that caused a large number of casualties, and we're taking to the Al Shifa hospital complex. We are continuing to monitor the situation, but this is the first time we've had rockets in this area really for a couple of hours. But what we have seen is really heavy Israeli strikes into the area using a variety of different means, from mortar and artillery fire to Israeli airstrikes ahead. We've also seen strike helicopters operating inside the area, so we do know that Israeli operation continues to be ongoing. Hamas's Al-Qassam Brigade is saying that they are actively fighting with firefights on the ground with Israeli troops who are trying to push further south into Gaza Strip.
Right, and we have seen in the past couple of nights this sort of heavy bombardment by Israeli forces, sort of setting the stage for some kind of a ground operation in Gaza, pushing, it seems, ever deeper into the strip.
Absolutely, because we continue to hear from Israeli forces who say their tanks are still on the ground, their troops are still on the ground, continuing to try and clear the area of the northern Gaza Strip, trying to clear out any Hamas terrorist militants who are in the area, as well as also trying to target some key Hamas infrastructure that's in the northern part of the Strip. We know most of the area has been concentrated, most of the forces concentrated in the northern part, but we of course have seen many airstrikes throughout various parts of the Gaza Strip. Reports of numerous casualties and injuries caused by these strikes. We don't have exact details or numbers who are coming out yet, but we do know that earlier today there was also an incident at the Erez crossing. The IDF said that there were a number of Hamas gunmen who tried to come into and perhaps try and infiltrate, but through the Erez crossing they exited a tunnel that was on the inside part of the Gaza Strip, but it is also where Israeli forces are operating, and they responded heavily with fire. We saw for many hours, continued to hear them searching the area, dropping these light bombs which drop very slowly into the air, but just release a lot of light. So clearly apparent that the IDF is still trying to make sure that there are no more gunmen, no more terrorists in this area, in the area that they're operating.
All right, Mary, call it down in the stairwell. Take care down there, Mary. I've seen, of course, the site that's been going on there. With the studio, I've seen diplomatic correspondent Walterman and Dan Elon, former Israeli ambassador to the U.S., former Israeli deputy foreign minister, and ambassador to joining us again. It does seem as if we're on the second stage of this ground operation. Not what we thought, not a big push, but it seems definitely there is some kind of progress being made, slow, but perhaps steady.
And that corresponds very well with this intimate cooperation and consultation we had with the Americans. And I think we discussed it before. How the Americans are pretty much in the war room, in the war cabinet, whether physically or Biden's here or Blinken with, but they're always in close cooperation. And they advised us more than once, don't go in all out. Start with small incursions, kind of to degrade the Hamas capabilities. The Americans have this experience, which is not for too long, just 2 decades, in Fallujah and in Mosul in Iraq. And it took them 9 months to mop up and clear Fallujah. So they're bringing to bear here all their operational experience, and they're trying to actually, on one hand, keep the idea from casualties, and also to minimize civilians. So this is the main care of Biden right now, because he's under extreme pressure from his Democratic Party, right? And so it's a big game here. The package has to be played very well, very judiciously. And I think so far the IDF has proven itself to be not only a disciplined and a great army as it has been, but also very professionally and working according to very methodical doctrines.
You must be careful, 9 months for the U.S. fighting with other.
No, it won't take 9 months here.
Half a world away as opposed to, and all kinds of pressures, as you said, the U.S. and international pressures, and always the pressure from the families of those hostages in Gaza. More and more speaking out about this, and more demanding that the government take some action more quickly to either rescue them or to work on some kind of deal.
Yeah, absolutely. The families covering all they can and their supporters. But before we get to the families, important breaking news I think I have to bring to your attention, to our viewers' attention. Out of Dagestan, in the North Caucasus, it's part of Russia. just north of Azerbaijan, the Muslim-majority region. Reports and video coming out of the airport there, planes just landed from Tel Aviv, of mobs going into the airport trying to murder Jews.
Okay.
What I just said is not an exaggeration, by the way. I've seen from what we have seen and from the best we understand. A lot of questions surrounding this. To what extent is slightly Russian media related? I think we can get to the commentary later first to establish the facts. But I think if there are in fact mobs going through the airport as we speak, wanting to murder Jews. Now, by the way, there's no clear Zionists here. I mean, they are saying the word Jews. I think we simply have to make pause and make mention of that.
Of course. Well, we're going to get to that in a little minute. We'll mention the Israeli government summoning a Russian ambassador to Israel today, concerned out of the rhetoric coming out of Moscow, feeding that. We'll get back to that, Owen. But let's go back to that. Let's get back to that.
And the hostages' families. You're right, Khaled. Obviously, the families are doing everything they can to help their loved ones. Organized well and quickly, and doing what they can to lobby in Israel and abroad. Of course, there are two different paths to freeing the hostages. One is through some kind of exchange, some kind of deal. We saw the leader of Hamas, one of the leaders of Hamas, Yahya Sinwar, come out and say he wants an everyone for everyone deal, right? That he will free all of the 230 or more hostages being held in Gaza, and in exchange Israel will simply empty the prisons of Palestinian security prisoners. By the way, Khaled, that would presumably include Israel emptying the prisons of those people involved in the October 7th massacre, right? So they would be free. One can imagine this is a difficult price for Israel to pay.
Pretty hard, if not impossible, to swallow.
And in any event, the government for now saying you're taking a different tack. That what the idea is to put pressure on Hamas through winning the war, through going in on the ground, through hitting targets, through weakening Hamas, and thereby putting pressure on Hamas to release the hostages in some other way. And perhaps, of course, hopefully we're hoping for this, for special operations forces to go in and to rescue these hostages themselves. At any rate, just a few hours ago, I was at the family's tent on Kaplan Street, across from the Israeli military headquarters. They're there, and you can take a look at this report that we filed and the people we spoke to.
They come here day in and day out. Representatives of the families of the 230 hostages being held by Hamas and others in Gaza. Here in central Tel Aviv, just across the street from the Israeli military headquarters, here to make their voices heard, the military leadership to the political leadership. We spoke with some of the family members earlier. Here's what they had to say about their trying hour.
We come here to convince our government and the world that something needs to be done. They need to be released. You can't leave them there and wait for something to happen. Something must be done. This is our message. We come and say to the government, do something. To the countries of the world, help us, because we cannot do it alone.
But it's not only the representatives of the families themselves, it's also the activists and the supporters who have come out here to be with them, including a bereaved mother who herself lost a son in battle in Gaza in 2014, but who felt compelled to come here and also support the cause of bringing those hostages home. We asked her about how she felt about the possibility of a prisoner deal with all of the risks that involves for Israel. Here's what she had to say.
We have no way to release them except to give us the security prisoners who are here. I think that the state of Israel knows how to deal with their enemies even after we release them. There is no price for an Israeli soldier, even if it means giving us all of our prisoners. It's not the best way, but it's the only way to free them. There is no other way.
The issue of the hostages remains high in the Israeli public agenda. Just on this Sunday afternoon, family members met with Israeli President Isaac Herzog and also with Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. After his meeting with the families, Defense Minister Gallant came out and reiterated the government's strategy that the best way to bring the hostages home is to move forward full speed with the ground campaign into Gaza and thereby putting pressure on Hamas, for Hamas to then feel it needs to return the hostages, saying that reports of potential deals over the hostages are simply psychological warfare being used by Hamas to divide the Israeli public. At any rate, for the family members coming out here day in, day out, it's such a difficult waiting game. And the irony, we're standing next to Kaplan Street, where just until about a month ago, this part of Tel Aviv was known as the central venue for protests against the government's proposed judicial overhaul. How Israel's public agenda has changed.
We'll get back to the hostages in a minute. First, we're going to jump to the north of Israel, and our correspondent Pia Stepabach, and Pia also in the north. It does seem an intensification of fire across that northern
Hamas and Israel also stepping up its response.
Right, Colin, the Northern Front is continuously heating up. Today we had a couple of barrages of rockets here in the north, one in the east targeting the area of Kiryat Shmona, and the latest one targeting the western Upper Galilee area, also in Narea. We had a siren earlier on. That barrage that was fired from southern Lebanon towards the western Galilee region, towards the region we're at here right now. Hamas claims responsibility. The Qassam, the Lebanese wing of Hamas in southern Lebanon, fired, as it says, 16 rockets. The Israeli military speaking about 10 rockets being fired here, which is possibly the biggest barrage of rockets we've seen so far coming from southern Lebanon towards Israel. They were all intercepted or fell into open areas, so no reports of damages or casualties here. But early on, another barrage of rockets, of 6 rockets, that was what was said by the Israeli military, was fired towards the city of Kiryat Shmona, the eastern part of the Israel-Lebanon border. They're targeting, directly impacting one house. The rocket lit that house on fire. It was void of its residents, as the city of Kiryat Shmona has been evacuated throughout the last week. They're only about 5 kilometers away from the Lebanese border, one of those many communities that have been evacuated from its citizens. Earlier on the late afternoon hours, the city of Rosh Pina was targeted as well. We are talking about a city that is about 30 kilometers away from the Lebanese border. There is a city that is just above the Sea of Galilee. So you definitely see that not only does the rocket fire intensify, but also the distances that they reach do intensify here. Hezbollah claiming responsibility for the rocket fire onto Kiryat Shmona there. As you see, really the skirmishes do still intensify. That coming also after the Iranian president, Ibrahim Raisi, saying today on X, formerly Twitter, that Israel has been crossing a red line, forcing others to intervene here. This is also what has been coming from Hezbollah and from the Iranian regime since basically the beginning of the war, that Israel's operation in Gaza will decide about whether this will actually turn into a full-on, full-scale front, the Northern Front, that has been high tensions. The tensions have been high here since basically the beginning of the war. But Caleb, you definitely do see that the fire coming from Lebanon intensifies. We're not only talking about rockets, we're also talking about mortar shells targeting a military base close to Akivim earlier this afternoon there too. Israel, as per protocol, is targeting the origin of any kind of fire in southern Lebanon there, striking from the air and also with artillery here from the ground, as we've seen really throughout the last 3 weeks since the beginning of the war there. But we do see that especially the rocket fire here has been intensifying here, especially this evening.
It certainly has, and it looks like that decision to evacuate those communities, including the border area, was not an overreaction, as we see some of them. You mentioned Kiryat Shmona getting a direct hit on a dwelling there today. He stepped back in the north. Thank you for that. Gentlemen, things leading up on both fronts, it seems certainly, but also on the home front. And that's what I want to ask you about, Danny, because the government under pressure from the hostage families, making their voices heard. And maybe one clear sign of it, I frankly was surprised to hear last night, I believe it was the defense minister, Yochai, said that Israel is weighing all possible resolutions of, I thought the prime minister actually. Oh, okay, we are getting some, I just wanted to something, we are getting more reports of red alerts in the south of the country, so clearly that's as well. But even the president discussing this idea of an all-for-all deal, which is Israel, the Hamas releases 230, let's say, confirmed hostages, and Israel releases thousands of terrorists, something that I think for many sounds almost unthinkable.
But we have to remember, Hamas is the most cynical, brutal, Nazi-type, ISIS-type organization, manipulating and using the card that they have of the hostages to try to actually drive a wedge inside Israeli society and drive a wedge between the Israeli government and the people, because of course all the hearts go to the families and everybody wants to bring the hostages back home. But you have to understand this is a clear and calculated game. This is not a game where you can read these emotions. I mean, emotions, of course, you cannot deny that, if, God forbid, someone, has a loved one over there, of course he will do everything. I mean, and he will throw everything in order to get them back. But if a country, when you're a leader, you have to think very, very straight. And here, the truth of the matter is that this is what the government left in communication to the hostages. And I think maybe now they're trying kind of to tell back is that in order to get the hostages back, or as many as possible of them safe, you have to put the military pressure on Hamas.
Well, just like that London's and Netanyahu
Exactly.
yesterday.
And this is the only way to get them out. Because I do not believe a word Sinwar or any of these people say, well, let's get, let's make a deal. Let's stop, let's do a ceasefire and start negotiation.
First ceasefire, then we'll start
It's a
negotiating.
hoax. Only continued pressure will have a chance for the release of the hostages. And here, I believe that as cruel as the ISIS-type Hamas Nazis are, they have really hot potato on their hands because at least 40% of the hostages, have dual citizenships. So they're talking about citizens of the United States, of France, of Germany, of Russia, and others. So I think they will be very, very careful not to hurt.
Right. But of course, they could be potentially harm's way through the ground operation. What was the sense you got there at that rally speaking to these families? I mean, clearly, some of them already want to see this deal done. Maybe others being a little more circumspect, understanding the difficulties or the unlikeliness, at the time being unlikeliness of that. What's the sense you got?
Well, first of all, very well organized, as the Families Forum has been since day one, right? And with the
Hi sa ating isang viewers dyan. Hello, you're watching live latest update ng ating war dito sa ating bansa, sa ating isang Israel.
What Prime Minister Netanyahu said last night, I don't think he's seriously considering the all-for-all deal for all of the reasons that we talked about. I think he was trying to talk around it, to talk it down, and to try to put the focus more on the first objective of the war, of winning the war, than on the second objective of freeing the hostages. But of course, that's something everybody wants to see, Colette. And again, the government being very, very clear, including Defense Minister Yoav Gallant earlier today after his meeting with representatives of the family saying the best chance to free the hostages is through the ground offensive, right? So again, the government going all in on this idea that we are not stopping to negotiate. The negotiations are a psychological tactic, psychological terrorism on the part of Hamas. There's nothing to all of these reports in Qatari media and Egyptian media about any kind of progress. We are going full speed ahead with the ground campaign. We see that at the end of the day as the priority, and we're going to try to get the hostages freed in that route. And one final note, Colette, the emotions at the tent are unmistakable. The sympathy in Israel around the world for the cause of the hostages, it is unmitigated, but you don't see a huge protest movement developing on behalf of the hostages. You don't see protests of tens of thousands of people in the streets. Maybe it's unrealistic to expect that during war anyway, and maybe that's not really the metric to go by. But I do wonder whether Israeli society has a different perspective on this than it did, for example, in the years leading up to the, let's be honest, disastrous deal to free Gilad Shalit.
Well, I think that shadow is hanging over this clearly. Yes, clearly. Gentlemen, I want to move on a little bit because, as noted, Prime Minister Netanyahu, under pressure on a lot of fronts, backtracked after he refused last night to take responsibility for what happened on October 7th, and later even tweeted a message that he was told by the security services that no such attack from Gaza was imminent. Well, after a furious reaction from both politicians and publics, Netanyahu offered up a rare apology, tweeting, "I was wrong. Things I said following the press conference should not have been said, and I apologize for that. I give full backing to all the heads of the security arms and strengthening the chief of staff and the commanders and soldiers of the IDF. Well, the front and fighting for the house together with them." Then the apology from Benjamin Netanyahu, as I said, fairly rare, clearly, and that he feels he made a serious mistake last night.
I don't recall any apology from him in the 30 so years that he's in politics.
We're going to get to that one. After the 2015 election, when he said the Arabs are going to pull the girls after the election, there's one. So there's one.
Okay, but okay, maybe fine. But I think he realized he made a mistake. I think that he's really his finesse as a politician was really also degraded with the war. I think he has not come out of the shock that happened to him because he is actually the father of the concept, and the concept was Hamas is deterred. You had him on record after every operation whether it was in 2014 and 2009. You have it on record where it says Hamas is deterred, Hamas has suffered a blow that it never experienced before, and so on and so forth. So he cannot deny that, and he cannot escape. There will be a commission of inquiry, and there is no escape to put the blame on him.
Okay, well, gentlemen, stay with us. We are going out for a brief break. Stay with us. We'll be back in about 3 minutes with more on this special broadcast on 24 News. Israel is at war. Make an investment in Israel bonds. It is the most powerful and direct way to stand with Israel. Visit israelbonds.com and invest now.
Made for me, a unique concept in Israel. Custom-made men's fashion to your measurements. Made for me, designer of all your events. Schedule your appointment at www.madeforme.co.il. Made for me, official dresser of I-24 News.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Over 1,300 people murdered and more than 3,000 injured, and the war with Hamas continues. We bring you first-hand testimonies from the front lines, from those who survived, and all the records of the atrocities by Hamas. Follow us as Israel fights terror from the south and north. Get the inside scoop on what's going on. Only on I-24 News.
It actually starts from scratch. And the way that it works is it generates this random body that kind of looks like a sponge. And it evaluates its behavior.
Israel is officially in a state of war. This is a very active scene, and we get in the car as we're talking.
100 soldiers and civilians have been kidnapped.
Just don't know anything.
5 families, including babies and children and elderly, were butchered in their beds. Awakened the giant, and we are ready and we are strong.
Everyone is showing up. This is the unity.
Welcome back to this special broadcast on I-24 News. We want to just go to a developing story out of southern Russia, the Republic or province of Dagestan, which is in the Caucasus regions. You're looking at not like this, but footage they taped earlier. That's the airport in Dagestan where crowds of locals busted in the airport because there was a flight leaving from Dagestan to Tel Aviv scheduled there for this evening. Earlier, and so the crowds broke in. There have been some incidents of recently, just this week, in the past couple of days, of crowds in Dagestan going from hotel to hotel, looking on rumors of trying to find Jews or Israelis in those hotels. Again, this is a primarily Muslim region of Russia. Oh, and what do we know about what is happening in Dagestan?
Again, reports still coming through, Caleb. The facts are still developing. We should all be cautious. But from the best that we can gather, there were some Russian security forces who at least tried to get to the airport to control the situation. And also reports, including in Israeli media, that the flight has been diverted to a different airport, presumably to try to get the passengers away from this crowd. But obviously an incredibly distressing situation. And again, I want to emphasize to people
around the world. There's no veneer of Zionists here. They're after Jews. And as you said, Kalev, it's true this is an autonomous republic. This is a part of the world where, broadly speaking, there have been security issues, of course, over the course of the number of decades. But this is part of Vladimir Putin's country. And he's responsible for the security of people in his country. And if there is a mob going into an airport that is wanting to murder Jews, that's happening in Vladimir Putin's country.
Right. We should, for the Dagestan, you could say it's similar to Chechnya, the same area, has a similar religious makeup, more or less. And this is what, and as I said before, we've seen this building in the past couple of days, reported incidents there. And in fact, then, as I mentioned, Israel's foreign ministry did summon in the Russian ambassador earlier today. And Vladimir Putin's rhetoric in terms of the Hamas and hosting members of Hamas in Moscow just in the past week has certainly created an atmosphere there that Israel sees as Putin as, I don't want to say developing, tolerating, maybe encouraging.
I mean, I think all of us have to understand there is a world war going on. The different manifestations, the manifestation is not as, it was so blatant like World War II, but they're flashpoints. One is in Ukraine, one is in Gaza, one is in the Gulf, Iran is involved, Russia is involved, China very much is involved with the financial backup, and Russia is on the wrong side of history again, vis-a-vis the Jews and vis-a-vis Israel. We have the two camps. One is the coalition led by the United States, NATO countries, Western countries, Israel, and on the other hand, we have Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, and of course, all the proxies on the ground with the terror organizations. Russia is really the perpetrator of anti-Semitism more than any other country. We have to remember always that this illusion, this lies about the chronicles of the elder of Zion came out of Russia. During the Tsar, even before the Soviet, there were Tsar agents who concocted that. We can never, ever rely on Russia. So if there was anything here when the war in Ukraine broke out, that we should be tiptoeing, I think today is clear that we should be much more supportive of the Ukraine and actually.
And Vladimir, and we should say President Zelensky has been quite supportive of Israel in the past week.
Because he understands what's going on. And Israel, because of some kind of fixation that we need to keep the Russians, let's say, at bay on our northern border in Syria, we have to be very much careful with the Russians. I can tell you today, forget about the morality, forget about the strategic thinking of the future, that we must be with our values and with our friends, not only because of morality, because of our very existential interests. On top of that, if you look at the downside, what can the Russians today do to us? They cannot.
1,400 people killed in less than 1
I can tell you what they can do to Jews, which we see happening in Dagestan this evening, which was they can encourage something. And we have to go back to Tsarist Russian pogroms, which were spontaneous eruptions of anti-Semitism against Jews. But as we know, it was something the regime encouraged, allowed to happen for its own reasons. And unfortunately, we don't have the full picture yet. Something like this seems to be happening in Dagestan.
But at the end of the day, the policy should be very clear. Just, there are 20,000 Jews in Iran. Still, we blame Iran for being the worst country in the world, and we hold them responsible for the Jews over there. And the Jews over there are quite safe. Actually, they use them as propaganda, Have you heard that the Jews of Iran, just 2 days ago, had some kind of a manifestation, supporting the Palestinians? With Russia, it's the same. There are 800,000 Jews or so. I don't know, something less, something more, depending how you count. Right. Let's say between 200 and 800,000. We should hold Russia responsible for their own citizens.
Okay, well, I'm sure we'll be coming back to this story. I want to just jump back down south to our Mary McAuliffe and Mary Harriet sirens continue. I've seen in the last 15 minutes, Zikim sirens also going off in New Orleans, so the south continually, it seems to come under fire.
That's absolutely right, Colette. We're here, so just very near the Israel
Gaza border, just a couple miles away from it. From here, there were just moments ago there were rockets again overhead, Iron Dome intercepting those. But here we continue to also see inside the Gaza Strip. We're looking here at the northwestern part of the Gaza Strip, where we continue to see continuous Israeli airstrikes. Just moments before I began speaking to you, once again seeing those flares coming from the Israeli side into the Gaza Strip. We've heard Israeli attack helicopters overhead throughout the night, as well as just a number of Israeli planes overhead continuing to operate, both doing surveillance as well as those strikes on the ground. So it does continue to absolutely be a very heavy area here in southern Israel. Of course, we should note though that most of these communities we're talking about, where we've heard probably over 20 rocket sirens throughout the day today, most of these communities have at this point been evacuated, so we haven't received any reports of injuries or casualties on the Israeli side. Now that we have internet partially restored to Gaza, we are hearing reports about some of the injuries and casualties that have been coming up from Israeli strikes throughout the evening.
All right, Mary McAuliffe, still with us? Okay, Mary. Okay, good, Mary. What are you hearing in terms of like the Israeli military activity in the immediate area? Just certainly in the last hour.
Absolutely. So we continue to hear this heavy presence. We continue to see a very heavy Israeli presence. Just moments ago, before speaking to you, a large group of Israeli soldiers just in the area, telling people to evacuate from this area, saying there is a heavy fear that there could be a strike or rocket fall here, trying to clear this area and to remind people that this continues to be a very active war zone throughout this area in the south. We just see many, many different Israeli forces, troops, tanks, heavy machinery, artillery that are being fired into the Gaza Strip from where we were earlier in the day on the other side of the Gaza border inside Israel. But we could hear on the other side Israeli tanks operating in the near distance. We know also they were trying to have this incident with infiltrators or possible infiltrators. Israeli troops were responding using every method at their disposal to try and make sure that infiltration was put out. So we heard heavy machine gun fire and helicopters attacking from the sky, as well as airstrikes and light flares to try and illuminate the area to make sure that they can see exactly what's going on as forces continue to try and push further south into the Gaza Strip.
Right, now let me call up there and still thank you for that. Now, even before the Israel-Hamas war, there were serious concerns for the Jews of Europe amid a surge of anti-Semitism. But of course, since October 7th, the bad situation has gotten dramatically worse. Massive pro-Palestinian rallies degenerated into pro-Hamas rhetoric and anti-Israel and anti-Semitic invective have been seen across the continent, from London to Paris to Rome and many other places. A synagogue torched in Berlin, Jewish schools shut down in Amsterdam over safety concerns, and as we've been reporting in Russia's largely Dagestan region, lynch mobs raiding hotels looking for Jews and Israelis, and this evening, an attack on the airport in Dagestan, where a flight was looking to evacuate some of the Jews from that area to Tel Aviv. Joining us in the studio is Dr. Ariel Muzikan, president of the European Jewish Congress. Dr. Muzikan, thank you for joining us. First of all, I have to tell you what's happening in Dagestan at this moment in the airport is, it sounds almost like a pogrom.
I'm afraid it's not going to be the end of the story. We are facing difficult times in Europe, but we are fighting back. We will not let that happen. Like the Israelis, we are supposed to protect our Jewish people. There's about 1.5 million Jews left in Europe today. And one of the main scopes is to protect them and to call on European governments to do the same. But the situation is serious. Let's put it this way.
Right. Well, certainly some countries are more reliable, those governments, than the others. Certainly Russia and here. Perhaps in some ways encouraging these attacks. Let's talk about this. How has the European community, how have the governments been responding?
It's very different. I'm Austrian, so not only has Austria taken a very, very good stand defending Israel at the United Nations and in other places, but also just to tell you that I'm here now with a delegation of Jewish presidents from 7 countries. But I have also 3 members of Austrian Parliament here who came here to show solidarity with the state of Israel and its people. So you have countries like Austria where it's great, and then you have other countries like Ireland, let's say, or Spain, where it's a catastrophe, where anti-Jewish, anti-Israeli mood is really terrible. So you have a very big difference in the different communities, but you also have a very large Muslim community, for example, in France, Germany, and Sweden. So, or the UK. And there, the manifestations on the streets are kill the Jews.
Right, so how are the governments responding to that? There's some elements of the Muslim we do see in some countries, for example, in France, taking a tougher line. How about in some of the other countries?
It's been very, very tough from the governments, UK, France, Italy, Austria, Germany, working to see where it goes. At the moment, the governments have taken a lot of precautions and a lot of steps to push this type of anti-Semitism down. But nevertheless, parents are thinking, should they send the kids to Jewish schools or should they stay at home? People are afraid.
What about Israel? What should Israel be perhaps looking to do or help or contribute or avoid doing in these circumstances?
First of all, we are here to support Israel. Our mission here is solidarity with the state of Israel and its people. That's number one why we came here. So now is the time to come, and now is to show the Israeli people that the European Jewry is standing 100% behind Israel in this war. That's number one. Number two, I think that Israel can call on all these countries in Europe to do their duties to protect their citizens. There shouldn't be a difference between a Jewish and a non-Jewish citizen to be protected and be able to have a normal life in Paris, Berlin, or Vienna. And if that's not happening, then Israel ambassadors and Israel foreign ministry has to call on their colleagues in Europe and tell them to do their job. And it's happening, and we cannot complain right now.
I just want to bring up the issue of the hostages being held in Gaza, because many of them are European citizens.
And we're going to see them. We're going to see the families tomorrow and try to discuss with them what we can do. And it is strange that when so many European countries have voted for this resolution or abstained, where were they concerning their own hostages? Just because they are Jewish, nobody seems to. They're calling for humanitarian passage. Why are they not calling that before anything else they should free the hostages? The civilian hostages at least, if not all. But again, you see how the double standards go in the world, and Europe is not better than any other place. 125 countries, I think, more or less, have voted for this Jordanian resolution. And Hamas was never mentioned, right? Or abstaining, or playing their games, including France. So, look, again, we are together and alone. And that's why we have to come to Israel to express this position. We are together and alone. And if we don't help each other, nobody else will help us. Hopefully the Americans, but if you look at this vote, I think it's a catastrophe.
Well, certainly the events just that we've been discussing this evening show us that this war extends, the battle extends beyond Israel's borders and extends globally to places like Europe.
Especially if you know that there's 20 million Muslims living today in Europe, most of them coming from North Africa, Turkey, or now refugees from Syria. So these are people who have been drinking the anti-Semitism of the motherland.
Right, I do want to stress, we're talking about a strain within that community, extremists within that community.
Correct, but if you look at the figures where the anti-Semitism comes from the most right now in Europe, it's from these type of the population.
As you said, because they've been fed this very strain of this.
Exactly. I don't say that all Muslims are anti-Semites. I'm saying that the percentage within the Muslim community is 2 or 3 or 4 times higher. What about the non-Muslim citizens? I would say it's not really going up because it is steady and it's bad, but it's not something which would make me be afraid. Don't forget, from the Muslim side, there's also the issue of violence. The anti-Semitism from the right and from the extreme left is, I would say more, but the majority is non-violent. The anti-Semitism from the other group can become violent.
That Ariel was president of the European Congress. Thank you for joining us. now to the IDF spokesperson who happened to
The ground operation in Gaza continues. The ground forces have operated in Gaza and took down many terrorists. Among the dozens taken down, tactical commanders. Those are the ones commanding the forces on the ground. In addition to the ground operations, we're continuing with massive airstrikes to secure the ground forces and also to take down Hamas terror infrastructure and terror targets. We continue to expand the operation gradually according to the plans in order to achieve the goals. The ground operation is complicated and includes risks. We will do everything by air, sea, and ground in order to ensure the safety of our forces. Over the past several weeks, we have proven Hamas uses the residents of the Gaza Strip cynically and executes crimes against humanity by using facilities like hospitals, schools, and other institutes. The Gazan population speaks about the fact that Sinwar no longer cares. Sinwar has brought a disaster on them. He has lost control, and he is the person that is responsible for the situation in Gaza. He acts as a killer that has shown the entire world that Hamas is worse than ISIS when it executed the murderous massacre on 7th October and has kidnapped over 200 Israelis to the Strip, including elderly and children. We will chase Yahya Sinwar until we get to him. Over the past 2 weeks, we call on the residents of the northern part of the Gaza Strip and the Gaza City to evacuate temporarily. Evacuating southwards is for their own safety. This is an urgent call, we stress. South of the Gaza River, there are the conditions that would enable you to get medicine, food, and water. Go south. In the north, during the day, a number of launches were executed from Lebanon into Israel. IDF troops responded with fire towards the sources of fire, targeting Hezbollah infrastructure. We also took down 3 squads of terrorists that attempted to fire towards IDF troops. We killed terrorists on the fence that attempted to enter our territory. We'll continue to kill all the terrorists on the fence and will not allow entrance into Israeli territory. This evening, rockets were fired towards Kiryat Shmona and the northern Galilee. The IDF returned fire. We continue with our defense and offense in the northern border. We are in high readiness in the north. Any attempt to fire and any aggressive operation against us will be met with a crushing blow. In the home front command, the instructions continue to be updated every day. It is important to listen to the recommendations. These save lives. The behavior of